UFC Fight Night Vallejos Emmett goes down tomorrow night. So I'm going to be going through the entire card, giving you my picks and predictions on what I think is going to happen, starting with the early prelims, ending with the main event. Let's jump in. All right, and now to kick off our card, we have Piero Rodriguez versus Sam Hughes. Much anticipated rematch between the two. You thought last weekend was a big for rematch. No. And we got this on the first fight of the night, too. Jokes aside, this is actually going to be an entertaining fight to watch. The first one was entertaining to watch. It was Piera Rodriguez. She's very aggressive, so that in a women's fight, aggression just leads to a more entertaining fight, not just trying to poke on the outside. But Piera Rodriguez did get the nod in the first fight. It was pretty close. It was weird how the judges had it. But neither here nor there. Both on a 2-fight win streak. Pierre, she's looked good. She the two losses that she does have are to Jillian Roberts and I don't know the other person. But she is coming off a win. Her last one was a split decision over Ketlin Souza. And Ketlin Souza, she's run of the mill. If you beat her, you're all right. Whereas Sam Hughes, she's kind of putting it together now. She on a 3-fight win streak. I'm not sure, but Sam Hughes, she did have a really good win over Shauna Bannon. Really happy Shauna Bannon got subbed. Not a big fan of her by any means, and she does have a win over Dudakova, who I think's not too bad. So in women's MMA, it's always a coin flip. So it was already heads once. Likely odds it's gonna be tails this time. So I'm gonna rock with Sam Hughes. Moving on, we have Elijah Smith versus So Young Yu. I actually really do like Elijah Smith as a prospect. Not that he's gonna be like a title contender one day, but 23 years old, 9-1. Had a really cool fight in his last fight against Kasama, having a rampage like slam. That was really awesome to see. Whereas Su Young Yu, he's just kind of a decision merchant, and his grappling's pretty good. That's where like his striking is usually just used to set up his ground game. Where with Elijah, I don't think Yu's gonna be able to get his ground game off against someone as athletic as Elijah and so fast. So in this, I really think this is a lock on the card. I think Elijah Smith is going to be too fast, too athletic. His ground game is going to be too strong, and he puts together really good combinations on the feet with his boxing combos. So I can honestly see this going. I think Elijah Smith's going to probably TKO him, whether that's on the feet and then he gets a ground and pound, or he just gets into dominant position on the ground and just tees off from there. I can see either way happening as a very likely chance. And Elijah's just a bigger guy in this fight. He's 3 inches taller, has about 6 inches of reach on him. So I think this is an easy one. I think Elijah Smith's one of the bigger locks on this card. Moving on, we have Bia Mesquita versus Montserrat Rendon. Another big lock on this card, I think. We have Bia Mesquita, who is a good jiu-jitsu player. I enjoy watching her grapple. Where with Montserrat Rendon, she's more of like a wrestling grappler. So, but on her entries to get takedowns, it's just negate all defense and just full extension with the arms right at the ankle. So I won't be going with Rendon. I think Mesquita's probably a decently big favorite in this fight. I'm gonna take her, and I think this is kind of a lock. So keep it short and sweet. Moving on, we have Luan Lacerda versus Hector Sosa. And kind of like last week, what I was saying, the contender series kind of skews our vision. Sosa is making his debut. And he is good, don't get me wrong. But he's fighting out of guillotines in almost every fight he's in, especially in the last fight. It was like 3 or 4 guillotines he's fighting out of. Luan he's a good jiu-jitsu. He's really good with his submissions. I think this is going to be an easy one. I think Sosa's never fought anyone on the level of Lacerda, and Lacerda's fought people the level of Sosa. And you can't just gamer your way through higher level competition like this. I think Lacerda for the cycle parlay, I think that's kind of a lock, taking him by submission. But I could also see him just schooling him throughout the fight, being the veteran in that fight, and just kind of cruising his way to a victory. But I think Lacerda's might even be an underdog in this fight. I'm not sure, but it's going to be close. But I've got Lacerda. Moving on, we have Balaji Aki versus Manuel Souza. Now, screw what I just said. I I will retract that statement for this fight and this fight only. Well, not only. We have Rahiki. But anyways, Balaji Aki, he's athletic and he's got power. He's quick twitch. But on the other hand, Manuel Souza, he's good. He's a prospect that I actually think will probably be pretty good. Crazy power, but with that, he gets into these exchanges and gets a little reckless. Not even in the fact of leaving himself open through the exchange, but wading into the power a little too much and getting into those clinch situations wherein when you're trying to throw those power shots, you're not really getting those out of the clinch position. So if he's able to kind of keep his distance in this one, I think he's going to find a finish pretty easily. Aki was doing pretty good in his last fight against Mason Jones, and then ended up losing position and getting TKO'd. So I see almost the same kind of thing happening here. I got Souza in this one, or Souza. This fight should be on the main card, if not the co-main event. We have Chris Curtis versus Mike Tekbek Orobai. This is awesome. I love this for matchmaking as an Orobai fan. Just slimed out Jack Hermanson, a guy coming down from 85 to 170. And what do we have here? Another guy coming from 85 down to 70. And it's Chris Curtis. So, win-win. We get to see a guy who goes to a split decision in almost every single one of his fights and then loses to Roman Kapilov by KO in the last round with a second and then cry that he wasn't out. And Sean Strickland's a little cock in the chair. So, I'm taking Mike Tekbek Orobai by whatever he wants. Chris Curtis will sit there and gladly lose minutes and try and win it back with a moment. I think Orobai's pace and pressure that he's going to be able to put on Chris Curtis, he's just going to break by the second round. I think everywhere this fight goes, I think Orobai's better on the feet. I think he's better on the ground. And he sets things up much better than Chris Curtis. Chris Curtis just went to a split decision with Max Griffin. Max Griffin is not there anymore. So I think this is... I've been saying these are locks, but holy shit. Mike Tekbek Orobai is... If he doesn't close as like a minus 300, put a lot of money on it. This is betting advice. Moving on. We have Brad Tavares versus Eric Anders. Where they belong in the Apex. Did Anders come out of retirement for this fight? Like, this is where we're at for these. And somehow this fight's above Orobai versus Curtis. Let's compare losses. How about we do that? Brad Tavares lost to Robert Brychek or Bierchek, whatever, and looked like shit in that fight. Let's be real. Eric Anders lost to Christian Leroy Duncan by KO. Christian Leroy Duncan, Robert Brychek, Eric Anders by fucking decision. Moving on. I'm not reviewing fucking fights of people that are retired. Moving on. We have the Beast Titan over here. Look at him. Steven Asplin. 7-1, and he's able to light it up. I love this last season of the Contender Series has really brought us some fun fighters. I think like Asplin is fucking awesome. Josh Hockett, uh, Marwan, who we're about to see. But Vitor Petrino, I don't like this matchmaking. Like, how does Josh Hockett get Denzel Freeman in his second fight, and then he gets fucking Petrino, who is a 205 or moving up, who's a fucking Asplin is like the heavyweight Max Holloway. That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna say that. I've said that when I watched the fight in the when he beat whatever the hell that guy's name is, who's cut from the UFC. But then Vitor Petrino, he is a scary guy. Like the only thing I can really think to like pull back on him is like Dustin Jacoby flatlined him, but he was winning that whole fight, and then Dustin Jacoby just out craftied him because Dustin Jacoby's gonna be fighting for a title here soon, fellas. Put that into your brain. He might be 39 years old, but he might slime out Carlos Ulberg. Just go play 9 after. That's the type of guy he is. Um, but Petrino coming off of KO wins over Thomas Peterson, who I don't know. I feel so stupid watching Thomas Peterson fights because I feel like on the feet, like he's like kind of got that little quick twitch to him because he is just a fat blob heavyweight, and it's like, oh wow, he can actually, well, he can actually move, but it's like he almost looks like it, and then he just gets slimed out. Um, and he beat Austin Lane, but who doesn't beat Austin Lane? I think Petrino is going to be able to sub him in this. I think Asplin, the way he lost to Denzel Freeman, it really shows that his ground game is pretty terrible. I think his takedown defense isn't going to be great. And Vitor Petrino's built like a little freaking torpedo who's going to come at your knees and take you down, take your back, and sub you. Might just be me. I hate to do it because I really do like Steven Asplin. I think he would be a really cool thing to have in the heavyweight division. But this is one of the only heavyweights that actually grapples. So get Asplin back in there with some. Shoot, make the Denzel Freeman rematch. Let him get that win back. But I'm taking Vitor Petrino in this fight. I'm going to take him by submission. There's 2 clear paths to victory on both sides, and you can see both happening for me at least. I can see Steven Asplin going out there and getting the underdog win and looking really good, and then it just catapults him even farther into the heavyweight division. Just looking good on the feet, just stick and move on the outside, use all that volume that he usually does. But in my mind, I'm seeing Vitor Petrino, and I'm trusting my mind. Because this is the same fight that we just saw last weekend between Charles Oliveira and Max Holloway. That's what I'm calling this fight. Heavyweight Max versus Charles. That's an incredible comparison. And it's going to happen again. Petrino's going to take him down, take his back, and he's actually going to get the finish. Charles didn't get the finish. I said he was going to get the finish. I've got Petrino by rear naked choke. First or second round. Sorry, Aspen. I love you. Chubby Bunny. Moving on to the main card. We have Charles Johnson versus Bruno Silva. Both kind of jobbers, as bedtime would say. Charles coming off of a pretty not ideal KO from Alex Perez. Didn't look great. But Bruno Silva looked really impressive in his last fight against Jun Young Park, I want to say. Kind of just outclassed him on the feet and then took him down and subbed him. That's awesome. Like, Bruno Silva to do that against Jun Young Park, I think he's a pretty good prospect. The only thing that scares me in this fight is Charles Johnson does like to fuck up the tiny guys. 5'4" is tiny for this division. That doesn't make me excited to take Bruno Silva by submission. see a lot of subs happening in this card, low key. Big week for the cycle parlay and the Telegram. Join it, Devio picks. I'm gonna change my mind on this fight. I'm gonna change my mind. We're going Charles Johnson. We're gonna take Charles Johnson. The only thing that I think he'll be able to get outside of the first round, because he always dies out the first round. He's so willing to lose that first round. I think he's going to smoke Bruno Silva. I think he's going to get him in the second round. I think he puts a straight right hand right on his chin. Shut up. All right, we're moving on. Charles Johnson by TKO. Marwan Rahiki versus Harry Hardwick. So Hardwick took a short notice fight against Kawhi Fernandez. And he got his leg destroyed and got finished by leg kick in his first fight. Where Rahiki is coming off the Contender Series, had a crazy fight. That was a pretty crazy fight. Got dropped, looked like it was over for him. The first or the second time he got dropped. Was able to survive. Gets the finish, I want to say, in the early second. I'm going to take Rahiki. I think Hardwick doesn't have the power on the hands to really give him any, like there won't be a time where Marwan gets hit and he's, oh, wow, whoa, he's never going to spin his jaw. The only thing Hardwick has here is the grappling advantage. And in these lighter weight classes, it is always tough taking the guy with the grappling disadvantage because they value takedowns so much. I think Rahiki's going to be able to use his range, be able to kind of chuck the takedowns off. And Hardwick's going down to 45. Yeah, I've got Rahiki. I've got Rahiki by either second round KO or decision. Easy. Moving on. Andre Fili versus Jose Delgado. This is actually a sick fight. Andre Fili, always fun to watch. Win one, lose one type of fighter, but it's always entertaining. And then Jose Delgado, probably my top 5, one of my favorite prospects in the UFC right now. Got hoed in his last fight, obviously, by Nathaniel Wood. I loved his reaction when talking about that fight because people asking him, oh, like, what did you think about people saying you got robbed? And he's like, I didn't get robbed. I need to get fucking better. I need to elevate my game. And he's about to show it. Because, I mean, Andre Fili, he lost to Nathaniel Wood too by UD. And Jose Delgado lost by split. MMA math. But you know, Andre Fili also win one, lose one. And he's coming off of a win. So take a seat back there, buddy. It's Jose Delgado's time to land that right hand right on your chin. Send you what round? First or second? He's going to find in the second round. Jose Delgado, he just mixes it up so well on the feet. He's attacks all 3 levels so well. Truly one of my favorite prospects to watch right now. He is sick. I was hyping him up to all my boys, but before he fought Hyder Emil, smoked Hyder Emil out in the first round. Hyder Emil was on a KO streak. Jose Delgado will be a ranked fighter by the end of this year. Mark my words. Moving on. Ion Cutelaba versus Umar Sy. So Cutelaba fights are actually impossible to predict because sometimes he's there to go and just smoke people, and then the other time he's going there to get smoked. It's no in between. It's either he's getting fucking smoked out or he's gonna style on somebody. And then Umar Sy, his fight with Alonzo Menifield was truly a disaster. One of the worst fights I've saw. But bigger, athletic, younger. I think his ground game is better. I think he'll be able to implement that a little bit more on the smaller guy in Kuntalaba. So I'm not going to think about this fight very much because Kuntalaba, I don't even think he thinks that much. So I'm going to take Umar Sy by decision. Now moving on to that's the feature fight. All right. And then the co-main event. We have Amanda Lemos versus Jillian Robertson. How is this not the main event? What? What do you mean? Lemos coming off of a loss, getting blobbed by Suarez. Not my favorite thing to see. Then Jillian Robertson on a 4-fight win streak. I think she won her last fight by TKO, right? Marina Rodriguez by TKO, I want to say. We're going to rock with that. I'm taking Jillian Robertson. I think Amanda Lemos she showed the hole in her game, which is the ground game. She is pretty decent on the feet. She's got power in her hands. But I think Jillian Robertson's ground game is pretty good. I think she's going to be able to get it to the ground, blob her out, just roll through submission attempts, take her back, camp there for 2 minutes, then get back on the feet and just pitter pat. And Jillian Robertson by decision or submission. Easy. I'm not putting any more effort into that fight. The main event of the evening. Kevin Vallejos. We are Kevin Vallejos. Versus Josh Emmett. Josh Emmett is just such an interesting creature. His ears just... But we have Ilia Topuria versus Josh Emmett, and we saw what happened the first time, so I think Kevin Vallejos is either going to finish him or get the decision. I could really just end the video just off of that, really. I think Kevin Vallejos is going to be really good. I think he's 17-1 at like 24 years old. And you know who his loss is to? Gene Silva. Oh, wow. What? That couldn't be a better aged loss. And he lost him when he was 20. Kevin Vallejos he's just he works all 3 levels extremely well. He's extremely athletic. The odds are a bit extreme, so I wouldn't put money really near this fight. But Kevin Vallejos is going to walk through Josh Emmett, I think. I think he's going to be able to use his combinations. He's so slick on the feet. Josh Emmett doesn't really throw a whole lot of body kicks, and obviously Giga with his kicks is going to be dangerous, but yeah, I think Kevin Vallejos, this is going to be another... I don't think he's going to get the finish in this. Josh Emmett's pretty tough. But he wins those first 3 rounds pretty easy, in my opinion. It's just, I don't think he's going to get chinned by Josh Emmett by any means. So, yeah, it's one-way traffic with Kevin Vallejos in this fight, I think. It's another Apex card, so not the greatest thing. But those are my picks for Vallejos Emmett. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And join the Telegram. We're up money this year. Join the Telegram. We're up. So, yeah. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.